last two classes, right? The last two classes, we were studying all the concepts that was leading to the understanding of Yajna. Right? And we started off with what? We started off with concept, the cultural difference. What is religion and what is tradition? Okay, what is the core of religion?
Word of God.
No, what is the core? Belief, right? So the core of religion is belief. And what is the core of tradition? Actions, right? So is Hinduism or Hindu Dharma a religion or a tradition? It's a tradition, right? So we don't have a core belief. We have a core set of actions. So now the thing is, that's the template we're using here. We have actions that are at the core, and that makes us a tradition rather than a religion. Okay? And that's how we differentiated between a religion, which basically Christianity and Islam are religions, because at the core of their religion is a faith, a certain creed that you have to believe to be a Christian or a Muslim. But in Hindu Dharma, when I ask the question, what is the belief that makes you Hindu? You are all rolling your eyes. Right? And why was that? Because there is no set of beliefs or belief system that makes us Hindu. It is rather a set of actions that makes us, Hindu is another, it's a term that's not native to us, but we can still call it Hindu. So that's what it is, right? So now the question is, this action, we are talking about us, right? So what is the core of, when I say the core of our tradition is action, what action are we talking about? I'm talking about us. That means, if it was Christian, if I asked them what is the core of your belief, they would say 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Now I'm asking you, it is us. What is the core actions that make us Hindus? Because all of these are leading to the concept of Yajna that Krishna is talking about. Right? So you need to understand, if actions makes you a Hindu, then what are those actions, core actions that makes you a Hindu? Huh?
Yamas and niyamas.
Okay, yamas and niyamas. Do you feel that way?
That's the only.
Maybe you have read it,
Right.
but before reading it, we are talking about a tradition where actions are, spread from one generation to another generation.
Like a value system?
Okay, what is a value system?
Like believing in speaking the truth or believing that.
Again, you're talking about belief. No belief.
Following the truth is right.
Respect the elders.
Huh?
Respect the elders.
Okay, that is there. Right? One unique thing about us is we have a lot of kind of sense of responsibility towards the parents, which you don't find anywhere else. At least I have not seen it. So that is there. So that's probably that has come from one generation to another generation, and it has not come through talk, it has come through action. That is, we have been part of a family which treated their, parents and grandparents a certain way, and then we caught on with that. So that is a set of actions that is a part of us. That is the things, and then coming to temple, doing pujas, right? You were a part of celebration of Ganesha Chaturthi or Deepavali or all of those festivals, and then now you come here and you are still following it. Why is that? It's a different country. You're not in India anymore. But you're creating that again here. Why? Again, it's a set of actions. Right? We are making that set of actions, creating a tradition where the kids are going to be a part of it, and then they take that and it becomes a tradition that continues through the families. Right? Now, all of these, they lead to, or they come from a certain set of actions. Right? Even though the memory of it is actually gone, at least gone to a large extent, at least probably in the cities and towns of India. Maybe it is still there in the villages of India. But in big cities and all that, that sense is gone. So the core is not actually actions. It is something more than that. Can you tell me what is the core that drives Hindus? It is there. If you look at the words that your parents, your grandparents used, it's always there. Not to a very less extent in us.
Tradition?
No. Core of tradition is actions. Right? But what kind of actions is tradition? Like why should you take care of your parents? Exactly. Right? Kartavya. It's not karma. Right? It is not karma. It is actually kartavya. What is kartavya? Duties, right? Responsibilities, duties, obligations. All of these are kartavyas. So, the core of tradition is not just action, it is a responsibility, it is a duty, set of duties. So, if Christianity or Islam is defined by set of beliefs, Hindu Dharma is defined by core set of responsibilities and duties towards different things. What are those different things? We live in 3 domains. What are those 3 domains we live in? No, 3 domains, right? We live in 3 domains simultaneously.
Physical.
What is physical? What do you mean by physical? Adhyatma, which is our body and our mind. Right? That is one. We live in that. Then
Beyond that, yes.
Adhibhuta, society. We live as a part of society. Then Adhidaiva, which is nature. So simultaneously we live in our body, we live in a society, and we live in nature. All the 3. So it means we have duties towards these 3. What defines us is the unique set of responsibilities and duties that we feel that is passed on through us as a set of, when you are born with responsibilities. You are born with duties. You are born with kartavyas towards yourself, towards the society, towards nature. Okay? So this is what defines, this is the core. So if that is what the core is, can you give me some examples of your kartavyas? Or is it erased from memory? One is what she said. We have a sense of kartavya towards looking after our elders. Maybe brothers and sisters, elder brothers and sisters, we have a kartavya towards them. We have kartavya towards our kids. We have a strong sense of kartavya, right, as a responsibility. You talk in terms of responsibilities. But think about what your parents were talking, what your grandparents were talking. Your mom would be talking in terms of duties. It is your duty. It is your kartavya to do. That is the lingo we use. If you notice, if it is to a lesser extent with your parents, if you have had the fortune of interacting with your grandparents, you would have, if you hear what they say, they would have talked in terms of duties and responsibility, not likes and dislikes. See, those are 2 things, right? You do actions based on likes and dislikes. You do actions based on duties and responsibilities. There are 2 different things. Duties and responsibilities is either I like it or hate it, I have to do it. That is a duty. Likes and dislikes is, okay, I want to do it because I like to do it. I don't want to do it because I dislike. Look at the dilemma of Arjuna. Where is he in the battlefield? His sense of obligation is gone. He's talking in terms of likes and dislikes. I don't like to do this. But his sense of duty is gone. As a warrior, his duty is gone. See, that is how it explains Jati Dharma, Varnashrama Dharma. All of those things are what? These are set of actions that one is born into, is responsible for. Arjuna is born as a warrior, and his duty is what? Fight to protect Dharma. That is his duty. No matter whether the enemy is your own family or somebody else. Your duty and responsibility is to fight to protect dharma. Everything else comes later. That he has forgotten. He is now talking in terms of likes and dislikes. I dislike to fight with my relatives, my brothers, my uncles, and all of those guys. That is what he has moved to that. Krishna is trying to bring him back. And all of these things that he is explaining is to make that clear. That you are born with obligations, you are born with duties. Okay? But if you are born with duties, what do you? I want to know what you think are your duties, other than to your parents and to your to your kids. You need to have that sense, right? Because tradition is passed on. I want to know what is passed on to you.
Things like ahimsa, not to kill.
Is that you think it's your duty?
Not to kill the insects and unnecessary things. Sometimes, yes, we have been told not to do that. Okay, don't just.
Okay, that is okay. That I'll come to that one. That is correct. That is there.
So protecting the followed family traditions.
Perfect. Yes. So these are three different categories. You already covered three categories. Yes. But you feel it. It's not. I don't want that things that you have read in a book and don't tell me what you read in a book. I want you to know if you feel that. Are you feeling that? I know about your kids.
I think mothers have said that my grandfather followed these traditions and we need to keep it in our family. This is what we did at certain times of the year.
Right.
So they kind of tell you that you need to. Perfect example is children. When they shave their head off, when they shave their hair.
Yeah.
That's kind of tradition has been followed for a long time.
Right.
And then they're explaining that you need to protect and you should follow with your children as well.
That's okay, but where is the sense of responsibility? When the hair is shaved off, is it adhidaiva, adhyatma, adhibhuta? What is it? Okay, we'll come to that later. But what else do you remember as, some things that you should remember, this is as your parents or somebody would have told you, this is a duty, you have to do it. It's your duty as a father to do it. It's a duty as a mother to do it. It's a duty as, whatever, to do that. Okay, that is there. So coming to temple, doing puja and all those things, it is a part of duty, even though it has been erased from our memory or to a great extent. It is a part of the duties. I'll tell you what those duties are. That, it's kind of, the engine is stalled, the momentum is being carried. We don't know why, what is that responsibility or duty that's going on, but that action has been passed on. We do all those actions, we do all those rituals as a part of passing on those actions. As a tradition, we are doing all these things. But the sense of responsibility over generation is coming down, and it's being erased from the memory. Right? But all of these are, all the things that you said, they are all the things that I'm going to show you are a part of the duties that we are born with. And some of them, they become runa. It is a loan. We are born with loans, debts. Right? So it's putting those sense. Okay? What else?
In my family, Atiti Paramo Dharma. Anybody comes to your house, treat them like your guest.
So it is, you feel a sense of responsibility to do that, right? That is, okay. Anything else? Okay, yeah. That comes under what he was saying. But yes. Do you really have a sense of responsibility like that? Fight for what is right? Guru Deva Bhava is there. Our attitude, that is another important thing, right? Just like parents, our attitude to Guru is very unique to our culture, that you don't find in other culture. So that is again something very unique to the culture. We feel a responsibility, a duty towards the Guru. Very, very unique to our culture. That is one.
Respect for the elders is also there.
That is one, yeah, that is there. Age, yeah.
Holding a marriage together, or married, the daughter has to get married, or
That is a kind of a sense of responsibility towards, your kids and and all the samskaras and all that. Yes, all that is there. So we have actually covered most of the things, right, that we actually feel that are our responsibilities, right? This is not something that you read in a book. It is what you actually feel every day, right? And okay, so those responsibilities are under 5 categories. Okay, but before I go to that one, we have come now from the last 2 classes. We covered the difference between religion as a set of beliefs and creed, tradition as a set of actions, and now I was saying this is not just action; it is a duty. It's a kartavya, right? What is at the core of our being in everyday life is actions, a set of responsibilities toward different things, not a set of beliefs. I do not believe in this, I do not believe in that. I feel responsibility to do that. Right? Why do you respect parents? Because I think parents are God. Right? No, that's not true. You do not believe that. It is because that action has been passed on. That's what our parents did. That's what the tradition, says that's the best thing to do. That's what we do. Right? It's not a faith. It's not a statement of faith. It's a tradition. It's a passing on of that action. Right? So that is a passing on of action. It's a tradition. Yeah.
Yes, just reflecting on your question around, what did my parents say or my grandparents say?
Yeah.
And I was sort of thinking, hearing all the examples, it's more about, for me, it was living by example. So rather than parents telling us, do this or do that. It's more.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
In which is it in religion or in tradition that you live by example?
In tradition.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right? Tradition is you watch somebody do and you do.
Yeah.
That is what, live by example, right? Taittiriya Upanishad, it says, if you have confusion, watch what the best, people who are very good do and just, replicate it. That's what they say. So you're correct. See, all of those things come in place, right? They all fall into place. Because it is a tradition, we live by example, okay? And then we also have a lot of sense of responsibilities that all of you gave an example of, and which actually cleanly falls into different categories. Right? So all of these things come to the concept of yajna. What is yajna? What do you think, or what do you know? What do you know yajna as? Okay, offering. Yes. A sacrifice. Okay, a sacrifice. Anything else? But give me an example of yajna. What is an example of yajna?
I think sacrifice is a purpose to achieve something, to get something out of it.
Okay.
To have something to do for.
What are you sacrificing?
Basically, we are putting in all that ghee and things like that.
Okay.
But
you're offering.
Yeah, but we are doing it with something in our mind. We want to alleviate something or reduce. I mean, they'll come up with whatever the problem is have.
Yes, with the sankalpa. That's the technical thing. Okay, you do it with the sankalpa. Okay. What else is yajna?
I think it also includes pleasing people. You feast, you give people food.
That is yajna. Okay. So, now what Krishna is saying is yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma kaunteya what is it? Tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. So, he's saying any action that you do will bring you phala. Right? Whether it's a good phala or a bad phala, it's going to bring you phala, except if that action, accepting for an action which is yajna. Right? That means, what? You cannot sit 24/7, 365, and how many hours, years you live, in front of Agni and do Homa. Right? Then what is yajna? Right? Krishna is saying any action, if it is yajna, does not give you karma phala. That means basically it gives you moksha phala. any other thing that you do with a like or a dislike will actually give you Swarga or Naraka. Which is karma phala. Basically karma phala is that. So, if you define yajna narrowly, you miss the point. So what Krishna is saying is, any action that you do can be transformed into a yajna action depending on what you think, your attitude in that action. Right? What you have, the attitude that you have in the action determines whether that action is a yajna action or it is a sakama action. Nishkama action is a yajna action. There are the different names for that. Right? So now the question is, what is yajna? Yajna is an offering, right? Somebody said offering. Okay, but it's not just, in English, there is no English equivalent of that. Yes, it is, part of it is offering. But that does not capture the whole sense of what yajna is. Okay, you go to a grocery shop, you buy milk. Right? Okay, this is very good. Okay, what is the difference between yajna as an offering, dana as an offering? You offer both yajna and dana, both. What is the difference between yajna and dana? You know what dana is, right? Okay, what is dana?
It's a way of thinking of what is sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Whether you say it's going to be, the intention is there to actually give it for the good.
No, even there is a difference between dana and yajna.
Somewhere, where
If you
you want
without result, expectation.
No, you can, the best dana is done such a thing where the charity is done without expecting. And the same with yajna actually.
Yajna is somewhere, like, it's not that you do it, but you don't want to take any karma phala after it. Like, it's just that I'm doing it, it's my duty.
Correct.
I don't want to get anything out of it. It's like detached kind of performance. I don't know the exact word I'm getting.
Right. Yeah, in a sense that's correct. But the difference between dana and yajna is this. Dana is, you have excess of something. And you distribute it to people who don't have. From haves to have-nots. When you distribute, that becomes dana. Charity, basically charity is dana. What is yajna? Yajna is whether you have it or you don't have it, you pay the price. Okay? When you go to a grocery shop and buy milk, you are asked to pay up for it. Is that paying the charity or paying the price? You cannot call it charity, right? When you call something into a charity, you did not get any goods or services in an economical sense for that. You are doing it without getting any goods or service. Yajna is not that. Yajna is you are giving the price for the goods and services that you have received and that you are receiving always. Right? Even though you said you don't expect it, but we are always getting it.
Yeah.
Right? So, yajna is very obligatory. It is paying the price of living in the world, in nature, in society, in the body. That is yajna.
So when are we going to pay the electricity bill for the sun then?
Huh? Exactly. That is it. When you pay the bill, then you are doing yajna. I will tell you what those things are.
So Ashwamedha Yajna. So tell us about why they do Ashwamedha Yajna.
That's a Rajya thing, right? That's a Rajasuya, Ashwamedha and all of those things. That is a different kind of yajna. But I am talking about 5 kinds of yajnas which are duties for us. I mean, we are not the kings to do Ashwamedha. But anybody born in this world needs to do 5 yajnas. Right? So to understand that, you need to understand what is the difference between charity, dana and yajna. Charity is that which you do because you have lots of it. Right? You have lots of charity things, you give to have-nots. That is charity. Yajna is not charity. Yajna is an obligation. Right? Yajna is a price we pay for the goods and services that we receive. From who?
From nature.
Exactly. From nature, from Adidaiva, from Adibhuta. Both. Right? That means we are getting goods and services from both nature, so this is man, this is nature, and this is society. Right? So we are, okay, what is the goods and services we are receiving from nature? I don't know. Food, basically, right? Food. We are receiving food. That is the basic thing for our survival. Jivo jivasya jivanam. Right? That is what Bhagavata says. One life feeds off another life. Life is the life of life. It says. Have you noticed that our food is another life? It is not a rock, even though it is a condiment. Our direct food is what? Another life. Why is it that way? Right? A life is a life of life. That's what Vyasa says in Bhagavata. Jivo jivasya jivanam. One life is a life of another life. One eats the other life. Right? So the goods and services we receive from nature is what? All of these, right? Nature, food is the main thing. Air that we breathe, all the natural bounty that is around us, water, air, food, everything. They are all goods and services that we receive from nature. And that is what, which domain is that? Adidaiva, right? Now what we receive from society? What are the goods and services we receive from society?
Security.
Right? From family, right? Basically from family. And then extended. Your society has so many things that you take advantage of, that you never did anything for, but it is there and you take advantage of. Right? So that there has to be a price that you have to pay for that. That is another yajna. What is that? Adhibhuta yajna. Not adhibhautika yajna. It comes from this. Right? So, adhidaiva yajna, adhibhautika yajna. These are the prices we are paying for all of these things. So, with this, you can go to the concept of Pancha Mahayajna. How many of you have heard about Pancha Mahayajna? We are all born with 5 yajnas that we have to do. Whether one is a grihastha or a sannyasi or whatever he is, you are born with 5 yajnas, which is basically 5 prices that we have to pay for all the goods and services that we receive from these 5 things. Anybody? Whatever you mentioned previously, they all come under different categories of those Pancha Mahayajnas. Okay? First one is Daiva Yajna. When we come to the temple, right, that sense of responsibility that we are expressing is actually a part of Adhidaiva Yajna or Daiva Yajna. Right? But that sense of responsibility towards nature is erased. That I have to go to temple and pray in front of God, that is still there. That action is there. But why you are doing it? Why are you doing it? It is praying. It is basically you have to offer. You cannot just go and go off. You have to make an offering. When you make an offering to the devas, then you are paying the price to the Daiva Yajnas. That is your Daiva Yajna. How many devas are there? First of all, let's come to those basic things. How many devas are there? See, you are so much influenced by Christianity. No, I'm not talking about one God. I'm talking about devas. How many devas are there?
For all, like one for wealth, one for wisdom.
How many devas are there? Who said that? Exactly. 33 devas are there. Parama Mukhya. Right? There are 330 million. When we come to Vibhuti Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, I will take up that. There's Rishi Gana, all of these different Ganas, Vishwa Devas, Pitra Devas, and all of those things. I'll tell you how many numbers are there. It will all make up 330 million. Right? But 33 of which is the most important. Right? What are those 33? Come on. You have to know this. Come on. There are 33 devas. You leave Brahma and Vishnu. Shiva comes under this. Vishnu also comes under this, but let's leave Brahma for a minute. 33 devas.
Pitru-deva,
No, that's a Gana. You're talking about Deva Gana. That's fine.
All the nine planets.
What is? You give me the Gana name, group name. 3 groups. Come on.
Devagana, Rakshasa Gana.
No.
No, that's not that.
How can Rakshasa be Devas?
Devagana is there.
Yeah, but Deva Gana means what? Gana means a group.
Yeah.
You're saying there's a Deva group. That's what I'm asking. Which is that group?
I think Surya, Chandra,
Okay.
all the 7 planets.
No, not planets.
Nava-
Grahas?
Navagrahas.
No. They're on, even Navagrahas is very below. I'm talking about Devas.
Okay.
No, Devas. 3 groups of Devas that you every day interact directly with.
One for creation,
Exactly.
one
But what is the name? You have to give me name. You cannot just say sun, wind, moon and all that. There are 3 groups. What are those 3 groups? You have to feel bad. You have to feel bad.
You have to write a book.
Right?
You have to write a book so we can refer. You are told this, but we forget. It's your fault. You need a reference.
Agni, Prithvi.
No. Correct. Yes. Have you heard about Vasus? Vasu. Right? How many Vasus are there? Come on.
11.
Vasus. Ashtavasu.
8.
8 Vasu. Right? How many Rudras are there? How many Rudras are there? Rudragana. Maheshwara is the topmost. There are 10 more Rudras. 11 Ekadasha Rudra. Right? You don't know how the numbers? These are very important numbers. 12, 11, 8. 12 plus 11 plus 8 plus 1 plus 1. 33. You gave me 8. You gave me 11. Give me 12.
Those are the months.
What is the name? Correct, you're right. Devata. I need the. What is the Gana name? Adityas. Dwadasha Aditya, Ekadasha Rudra, Ashtavasu. Prajapati Indra. 33. Right? Who are these? Why are these important? Because we deal with them every day directly. Right? So, if you look at Rigveda is completely about Indra, Vayu, Agni and all of this things. Why? There's only a few mantras for Vishnu, a few mantras for Hiranyagarbha. Here and there you have, for Rudra there is a lot of mantras. But if you compare the number of mantras for Agni, number of mantras for Indra, it's too many compared to Vishnu. Why? Because it is all these mantras are used in Yajna. And you are doing Yajna, you are paying the price to who? From whom you get the goods and service directly. Who are you getting goods and service directly in the Adidaiva domain? But who in nature? 33 devatas. Right? So that is the 33 devatas. So 33 devatas are Ashtavasu, right? Ekadasha Rudra, I should say, Dwadasha Aditya, Ekadasha Rudra, right? And then on top of him, Indra, Prajapati. 33. And I am saying, we directly deal with them. When did you deal with Indra?
Right?
You're right. But not as, when you say rain, it comes under Aditya, but you're right. Right? We are dealing with, see, Vasus are, what are Vasus? Ashtavasus. What are the Ashtavasus? Panchamahabhuta, right? Surya, Chandra, Nakshatrani. 5 plus 3, 8. They are Vasus. So they are Vasus. Who are Vasus? Vasus are the one who create. Panchabhutas. Everything needs Panchabhutas to create. Right? What are the Panchabhutas? Prithvi. Prithvi is a Vasu. Right? Jala is a Vasu. Agni. Agni is the best of Agni Deva. Which Gana he comes under? Vasu Gana. Right? Agni Deva is not an Aditya. Agni Deva is a Vasu. Right? Why is he Vasu? He helps us in creation. Right? And don't we deal with fire every day? Right? And different forms of fire. Acid is a fire. As a Vaishvanara, he is inside the stomach, digesting food. Right? So we deal with Agni every day. The same with wind, Vayu. He's called Pravaha Vayu, not the life Vayu, not Prana, but Pravaha Vayu. Okay? Akasha, or also called as Dew. Another Vasu. Chandra, Vasu. Right? Here, different rupas. There's a Vasu Rupa of Chandra. Surya. Aditya as a Surya, Vasu as a Surya, two different things. Right? Surya here is a Vasu, which we deal every day. The sunlight that we receive, the warmth that we receive comes from the sun. Right? The 5 tattvas, moon, sun, how many? 7. Then Nakshatrani. How many nakshatras are there? 27. Right? 28 actually. 27 plus 1. You know, if you have beads, when you have beads, you have that number plus 1. So that is the 27 plus 1. 1 is that you starting. Right? What is that? What is that one bead? Abhijit. If you don't know the name. Abhijit. Right? There is an Abhijit. Okay, I'll have to tell all this. I don't know if you guys know, I will be teaching Vedanga Jyotisha class in summer. About 6 classes of basic one. These are the things. There are 33 entities in Jyotishya which are actually this. The grahas that you said, they come from Vasus. There are 7 grahas. Not 9. 9 is fine. There is 33 devatas and 1 asura. That asura is Rahu Ketu, right? But those 33 devatas, the 7 Vasus are Surya, Chandra, Prithvi Tattva is Buddha, then Jala Tattva is Venus, which is Shukra, then Agni Tattva is Angaraka, Mars, Vayu Tattva, Shani, Akasha Tattva, Guru, plus Surya, Chandra, 7, plus you add an Asura, 8, 9, plus 27 nakshatras. You already made a Rashi chart, huh? Right? Exactly. You will see all the things that we see in Jyotisha. These are those 33 things. Okay? So that, what are those 27 nakshatras? Vasu is an abhimani for nakshatra. These are all, direct contact that man has with nature. Right? The 5 tattvas, Surya, Chandra, and all the nakshatras.
Can you communicate that to the education committee for the summer program? Because we need to get that on the list.
I think it's already on the list.
Is it on the list?
Yeah, I saw that in the...
I think you have to do a Jnana Yajna. You have to share your knowledge, not in one lecture. I'm serious.
Yeah.
You have to write it down or get one of us to write it down so we can start putting it on paper because you have so much knowledge. Yes,
Oh, that's,
Jnana Yajna Kuru.
this is the Jnana Yajna.
Basically, you are writing.
We pay you for the book.
So, yeah, nakshatras. 28 nakshatras. Right? 27 plus 1, I said. What are those 27 nakshatras? Right? Ashwini, Bharani. So you guys all know that. I want to make sure you guys know what you're talking about. You should not tell me next sun, moon, wind. No, that's not what I want to hear.
We know very vaguely because we were just told half somewhere.
Right. This is where we get clarity. That's what the intention of the class is, right? So what are the 27 nakshatras? From Ashwini all the way to Revati.
So are these stars?
Constellations, basically, yeah. Not single ones, but a group. that covers all the 360 around. Right? Those, in the zodiac belt. They are the nakshatrani. Right? Abhijit is the 28th nakshatra, basically. So that makes, in the Jyotishya, that makes your 7 planets plus all the nakshatras. I have to build Rashis. Who is Rashi Adipati? Aditya. Dvadasha Aditya, Dvadasha Rashi. Right? Dvadasha Rashi, they are the Rashi Abhimanis. And Vasus are creators. What are Adityas? Sustainers. They manage resource, right? Rashi, what is a Rashi? What does Rashi mean actually? Literally. A Rashi of things means what? A heap. Right? That is what Rashi is. Rashi means resource that is available. That is Rashi. And Surya is Abhimani for Rashi. And there are 12 Adityas. Who are what? Aditya means what? Aditi Putra. Aditehe apatyam puman Aditya. That means Aditi's putras are, Aditi had 12 sons. Who is the Jeshta Putra? Who is Aditi's Jeshta Putra? Eldest son of Aditi. Come on. You know that. Do you know Aditi has 12 sons?
No idea.
Come on, really?
No idea.
Aditi's first son is Indra. Who is Aditi's last son? Kanishta Putra. No? You know about Trivikrama? Vamana? Vamana Avatara. Where did Vamana come from? No? Vamana Avatara. Yeah, Vishnu is the Kanishta Putra. But Vishnu is son of Aditi. You know that, no? He was born to Devas. He took an avatara among the Devas. Krishna says, Adityanam aham Vishnuho. Among the Adityas, Vadasha Adityas, I am Vishnu Aditya. Or I am the Trivikrama. Vishnu, Narayana, who is Paramatma, takes an avatar as an Aditya, Aditi Putra. That's why he is called Upendra. Why is Vishnu called Upendra? Because Indrasya Upa. That means he is junior most, youngest child of Aditi. He rules which month? This month, Phalguna Masa, right? Pisces, right? Kanishta Putra. You should know all this stuff. Right? Indra rules Leo, Simha Rashi. Vishnu rules Pisces, Meena Rashi. Right? So the Adityas that we have 12 Abhimanis for 12 months. 30 degrees, that is the 30 days that make a month. It is 30 days that make a month. Right? Not 31, 29 and all those Westerns. The Gregorian calendar is all confused. Right? It is 30 days in the lunisolar calendar. We are in the final month. In the next few days is the Yugadi. Right? That is when your lunar cycle ends. And then there is a solar cycle also that ends on April 14th. There is a Chandramana Ugadi, or Yugadi actually, not Ugadi, but Yugadi, on April 10th I think. April 10th is the Chandramana. April 14th is Sauramana. Do not ever call this as Telugu New Year or Tamil New Year. It is not Telugu or Tamil. It is actually Sauramana Riti or Chandramana Riti. 2 ways, solar or lunisolar, not lunar. If it is lunar, then like Islamic calendar is lunar, so it just goes behind. Ramzan is in November, the next year it is in September, it goes all the whole year. It loses track. This year we had 13 months. Did you guys know that? Adhika Masa. You know that? Why did we have 13 months?
We had like 2 moons or something.
To make up that.
See, the sun goes around in 365, 1/4. What is the lunar? 27, right? 27
Plus.
7 3/4. Why do we have 28 nakshatras? 27 days plus that extra becomes Abhijit. Right? That is why. That is the lunar going around. Phase of the moon from Amavasya to Amavasya is 29 and a half. Right? So, lunar year is 354 days. Solar year is 365 days. What is the deficiency? 11 days. So how do you make up? In 3 years, you get 33 days deficiency. You add a month. That is Adhika Masa. Now if you see, the lunar new year and solar new year are very near each other. Right? April 10th is lunar new year. April 14th is solar new year. Next year it is going to be a few days before. Another year from there, it will be somewhere in March. Chandramana will be in March, Sauramana will be in April. Right? Then we make up another month, add an extra month, we come back nearby. So every third year, we are closer to April 14th. And then we go back. 11 days. Every 11 days, we go there. So you understand the concept of Adhika Masa? There is a 13th month. 13th month added every 3 years. Every 3 calendars. Okay? So, Dwadasha Adityas. What are the Dwadasha Adityas? Indra, Varuna, Amshuman is an Aditya. Aryama is an Aditya. Indra is an Aditya. Varuna, Mitra, Bhaga, Twashta, Vivaswan, Surya is an Aditya. Surya also called as Martanda. Vishnu is an Aditya. Bhaga is an Aditya. So all of these are Adityas who are what? Who are the sustainers of life on earth. They are the physical sun, which is the fire. Pushan. Poshanat Pushan. Pushan means the one who gives nourishment. One who is responsible for all the plants to grow. That is Pushan. So there are 12 of those deities who rule the sun. Even though physical sun is but one, there are 12 deities who rule it every month. 1 month, one deity. In the rainy season, you have, what is his name? Parjanya. Parjanya is in the rainy season, Parjanya Aditya is the ruler of that. Same, so Indra, Chaitra Masa, Indra and all of those things. So there are sustainers, Dwadasha Aditya. What do Ekadasha Rudras do? Exactly, they destroy. Different kinds of destruction. They are the 10 pranas in the body. Plus 1 Maheshwara, Shiva. Shiva that we do the puja here is one among the many Rudras. Rudra is not one, it's a Rudra Gana. Right? Shiva is the main Rudra Gana. That means he is the one who destroys ultimately. Right? That is his job. There are other destroyers like Kapali is a Rudra. Pinaki is a Rudra. The Ahir Budnya, you might not even have heard those names. Ajaikapada. All of these are names of Rudras. Bhima is not the Pandava Bhima, but there is a Rudra called Bhima. All of these are responsible. What does Rudra means? When the pranas go, all the relatives gather around and cry. Rodanat Rudra. Crying. They are the ones. Haranat Hara. What is it? Hara. Takes away the pranas. Right? Basically 10 pranas in the body. Pancha prana plus Pancha Upaprana, all of those things, plus Maheshwara. All the 11, they make up Rudragana. So I've given you a basic thing. You should, next time when I ask, you should never say sun, moon or sand, this thing, ocean. No, you should remember the names of the ganas, what they do, and how are they. Are we interacting with them directly or not? Okay? Pancha Tattvas, we are interacting directly. Sun, direct. Moon, direct. Nakshatras, directly. Adityas, directly. Rudras, directly. So, they are providing goods and service. How do we pay the price? Through the Yajna. Yajna is the process of paying the price to all these 33 devatas that are helping us, providing us with food, air, water in all the natural world. That becomes the How do you pay the price then? How do you basically pay the price? Give back. That is what is important. What you take, you give back. You maintain the balance of nature. If you look at old civilizations, Native American civilizations, and all the old civilizations, they go for hunting or when they do fishing. They don't get everything together and create, like what Western culture does. They go to a place, they destroy everything, clean slate. It's got species is no longer there, right? That is what happens. But if you go to older cultures, they take a small amount and leave the balance back, or they put something in so that the balance is restored. That is the sense of responsibility towards nature. This recycle, go green, all of these are just words. These are actions that are already there, not just in India, in all ancient cultures. They don't take everything from nature. They take a little bit and then give back. And then this harvests. We have a harvest festival. Why do we have a harvest festival? That is Thanksgiving. Again, Thanksgiving in US is Yajna, right? You take the bounty, you take a part of it and offer it to the deities. What is that? Offering. Right? What is that offering? That is Yajna. In the house, when you do the puja, you take food that you have cooked and you give it to the devatas first before you eat. What is that? That is offering. That is Yajna. So that is an acknowledgement that we interact directly with nature. We get all these bounties from nature. It is our responsibilities to give back what we take from. When we take from nature, when we cut trees, you have to grow trees also. You have to put seeds. That is the paying the price for what we get. Right? That is Daiva Yajna. This will become even more clear. There is another, I'll mention all the 5 kinds of Yajnas. There is Deva Yajna, there is Pitru Yajna, there is Bhuta Yajna, there is Rishi Yajna, there is Manusha Yajna. These are Pancha Maha Yajnas. These are called Pancha Maha Yajnas. 5 Yajnas. 5 sets of responsibilities we are born with. Everybody has to do. Yajnas to the Devas, Yajnas to the Pitrus, Yajnas to the Bhutas, Yajnas to Rishis, Yajnas to what? Manushyas. Pancha Maha Yajnas. We saw Deva Yajna. Deva Yajna is giving back to nature or restoring the balance in nature. That is Deva Yajna. What is Bhuta Yajna?
Doing something to the bad.
To?
Bad.
No. Bhuta means animals. Not that. Not Bhuta Pichacha Preta. No. No. Bhuta means bhuti, that which has bodies. Basically referring to all lower insects, animals. What is Bhuta Yajna then?
We sometimes feed birds.
Exactly. If you look at old, even my parents, my mom, whenever she comes here, and the amount of food we waste, she's like, why don't you put it to dogs or something? Nothing comes on the road, nothing is happening. Why everything is going west? That sense of waste, you might have observed yourself. Right? In India, if there is something excess, you feed it to the street dog. Or some cow that comes in the way, you feed it to the cow. Right? All of those things are there. But here, everything to trash. So, what is Bhuta Yajna? Have you heard of Vishwadeva? Or a Vaishwadeva, not Vishwadeva, Vaishwadeva. Vaishwadeva is a ceremony. Okay, before that. See, there are so many things to know. Right? I have to go before that because then you'll not understand. So I have to go back to another basic level. Whenever we have food, we are committing 5 kinds of crimes. 5 kinds of killings. Did you know that? Whether it's vegetarian, non-vegetarian, whatever you eat, we commit 5 kinds of crime. Killings. Do you know that? It's called Panchasuna. You know what Panchasuna means? No? Panchasuna means 5 killings that we do in the process of making the food. Okay? Khandini is the first suna. Khandini. You do khanda. Take vegetable. Or Allahu Akbar. Right? So that is khandana. You do khandana. Right? That means you are cutting. They are all living beings. Remember, you bring cilantro, it is not dead. Right? So when you give this statement, I'm a vegetarian because my faith, my belief is I do not cause any harm. Excuse me, you are causing harm to the cilantro or to methi and all those things that you bring. They are all alive when you are cooking it. Right? So they are all alive. So that is not faith. It's not nothing to do with faith. Okay? So khandini means what? Bendi. You are cutting the bendi. You are doing the khandini killing. Right? Or cutting the chicken. Khandini. Right? That is khandini. Next one. Peshani. Peshani means grains. You do flour. Right? You take grains, rice. You do that, no? Pest. Making a pest. That's called peshani in Sanskrit. Peshani means grinding. Olden days they used to pound it. That's called peshani. What is happening to all the living beings? Right? That is another killing. Okay? Then chulli. Chula. You know what chula is, right? Chula. Fire. When you roast, you are killing a lot of organisms that are there by creating the, creating the fire there in the chula, which is in Sanskrit chulli. That one. And then udakumbini. That means your rice is cooking. They equate that to what is happening in Narakaloka. There is something called as kumbi paka. I don't know how many of you heard. In the Narakaloka, to a certain kinds of acts, you will cook like a rice grain cooks in a kumbha, in a pot. And that kind of punishment is called kumbi paka. Right? Which we are giving. I think we are talking about human only. Maybe we come back as some rice grain and then we are cooking. That becomes kumbi paka. Right? So udakumbini is another. Right? You are cooking. And then and the final thing is margini. When you clean, right, you put disinfectant and you kill all the good, bad, ugly, every microorganism, everything is gone. What is that? That's margin. So there are 5 types of killings that we do to eat our food. Is this punya karma or papa karma? First of all, we read about end-to-end karma theory. Is it punya karma or papa karma? See, philosophical karma, I'm not talking about action, I'm talking about action which has an intention becomes a karma. Right? This is all unintended. So there is no karma there. So then what is going on then? Why should we feel bad about it?
Because we do it unknowingly. So just
exactly. I didn't mention another category in the karma theory. There is something called jnata karma, ajnata karma. Unknowingly you create something happens. It is not a papa. When you do ajnata karma, it is not a papa karma. Unless you do a prayaschitta for that. You have to atone for that. It is anavashyaka. That means it is not anavashyaka. It is avashyaka. That means it is necessary evil. In cooking food, you have to do all those things. Organisms will be killed. All these things because it is jiva jivasya jivanam, right? But the thing is, you have to restore the balance that you have destroyed. That is the price you pay for that. That is the prayaschitta. That is what is, your Vaishvadeva Homa that you do. Vaishvadeva. That is your Bhuta Yajna. So what is your Bhuta Yajna? Bhuta Yajna, if you look at old Brahmanas, when they sit on the floor, they take some rice and put on the side. Chitraya nama, Chitraguptaya nama, Sarvabhutebhyo nama. What is those? For insects, for ants, right? And then you put for birds outside. You put old people. My grandfather used to do because it takes Shani dosha away. Black ants, you feed to black ants. That is very good, right? In Pitru Tarpana they do for crows, in the crows. So these are all what? Bhuta Yajna. It is our duty to make sure the animal life is sustained even in the process of eating food, which is necessary for our living. But even though it is not a bad karma to do that, if we do not do a prayaschitta of paying a price for it, it becomes bad karma. There is a shloka, if I remember it or not, I don't know. Let me see. It is, what is that? Udakumbini marjini cha panchasuna. It's a panchasuna grihastasya. Tavihi swargam na vindati. That means these are the 5 murders, killings that all grihastas do in the process of food. But if you do not do any prayaschitta for that, then you get bad karma. Not while doing it, because it is ajnata, so it's not a karma as such. But if you do not make up for it, it becomes a karma. You never get a swarga if you do not make up for that. That shloka says that. If you do not do the bhuta yajna. Right? So it is always very important to feed. If there is a dog or birds, so many birds in woodlands, bird feeding, any small animals, not krura. Nobody is saying go feed lion and all. No. They will take care of themselves. It is all saumya. See, cow, goat, all of those things that we feed, they are all saumya swabhava. They have sattva guna in them. Saumya. So feed dogs, cows you never get here. So I don't know what else is there. Birds, basically birds. This thing, pigeon, not pigeon, what is that? Sparrow. So much sparrow is there. In Bangalore at one time there were so many sparrows. There's nothing now. Sparrows, black ants and sparrows, very, 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 very good to feed. Right? So as a part of food, you feed the bhutas first before you take food. That is the price. That is the yajna. Do you know the sense of responsibilities we are born with and what we are doing? Like the difference. Right? How we live and the responsibilities we are born with. Right?
I think this is where the traditional stuff comes in. We talked about tradition before. Because I remember when Mum used to cook, first, the party used to make, used to take it out and give it to the birds. And then
see,
the tradition
exactly. Even I think if you go to village, you'll see that. Even today. In cities, NRIs, it's all gone. But city is gone. NRIs completely washed out. Right? But these are the duties, the tradition, and these duties have these kinds of meanings. That is, you are restoring balance with the nature. You are restoring balance in the animal world, right? All of these are very important. It's a sense of responsibility. Do we feel a sense of responsibility towards animals? No, I don't feel it, right? But that is one of the yajnas. That is one of the duties you are born with. That critical it is. Duties towards animals that we are born with, that critical, right? So nature, direct interaction with nature. So we do homas, yajnas, offerings back to nature. That becomes daiva yajna. I talked about bhuta yajna, animals, insects and all of those things. Then third one, pitru yajna. What is pitru yajna?
People die from the family that they come to parents.
It's part of which domain? Adidaiva, Adibhuta. Right? It becomes, when you said that, I said it's another category, right? That's what it is. Pitru, what do you do to Pitrus? First of all, who are Pitrus? Not our forefathers. They are already born somewhere as something. Then who are Pitrus?
they are going to look after you.
See, there are 2 kinds of deities, right? Those who look after the living, those who look after the dead. The living, I said, those 33, 2 of which are a part of about 10 Pitru Devatas. They are called Pitru Ganas. Yama is the Mukhya, or is the main deity of the Pitru Gana. That means those who take care of the dead, the affairs of the dead, they are the Pitru. Chandra is again one of the Pitru Ganas, one of the Pitru Devatas. Another Rupa of Chandra becomes one is a Vasu Rupa, one is a Pitru Rupa, right? So Pitru Gana. Now what do you do with the Pitru Yajna? It's also actually called as Pitru Tarpana. What is Tarpana? give me the meaning. What is tarpana?
Give it to somebody else. Through arpana.
No. Trupti. Tarpana means satisfaction. Right? Tarpayati means causing satisfaction. Trupti. Right? That, correct. Satisfying to the devatas who take care of our. So, as a yajna to the forefathers, what is our duty? See, it is also called, it is a runa, pitru runa. We are born with deva runa and pitru runa. What is deva runa? This is all deva runa, right? That means we have to, it's a debt, right? It's a price that we have to pay. It's a debt. It's seen also as a debt. And also as a yajna. Both are same. Pitru, debt to pitrus means what? Passing on the tradition. That is your pitru runa. Pitru yajna is not just, doing the tarpanas for the forefathers, but also it is your duty to pass on the traditions to the generations, your kids, their kids. Make sure that thing happens. Your language, your culture. It is your duty and responsibility to transmit that to different generations. When we say, why I don't talk Telugu, I don't talk Hindi or Gujarati at my home, English, they live in America, it's all English. That means your Pitru Yajna is Nasha. Gone. No, seriously, I'm telling you, it's not a joke. Seriously, that will be destroyed. You are not doing your Pitru Yajna at all. And when one converts from Hindu to Christianity, Pitru Yajna Damar. It's gone. Right? So that is the sense of responsibility that you have towards your forefathers. Actually, you do the tarpana for only 2 generations, 2 to 3 generations. That's it. But it is your duty to carry on, transmit the culture, the language, all of those things to your younger ones. Maybe they are in America, maybe why other religions can do it, not Hindus. Right? When you are not doing it, your responsibility, your duty, you are not doing that duty. That means your Pitru Yajna duty is gone. Your responsibility towards the Pitrus is gone. That is what is happening. Right? So that is what Pitru Yajna means. Anything that we do with society, to the other generation, like for the coming generation, you set up the temple. That's one kind of Pitru Yajna only. Right? Even though there is another Rishi Yajna there, but it is also because there is an intention of other future generation of Hindu kids will have a center for them to come here and follow the traditions and all of those things. That is, this place will do that, right? So it is a part of Pitru when we do that. If you have that sense of responsibility, people had sense of responsibility, they did that, right? So that is the responsibility that we need to show with our kids. And make sure these things are transmitted to the future generation. Right? So do you understand what Pitru Yajna is? Pitru Yajna not just means to our forefathers. See, Pitrus, in Pitru Runa, when does Pitru Runa go away? When you are born with Deva Runa and Pitru Runa. Deva Runa will go away when you do the offerings to the Devatas and all of these things. Deva Runa will go away. It is an ongoing process. When does Pitru Runa go away?
After the death, they do some.
No, Pitru Runa is still there. You are doing Pitru Tarpana and all that to the Pitru Devatas, praying that all the blockages that are there in the paths of my forefathers, let that go away. If they have done Papa Karma, they will suffer for that Papa Karma. But if there are any blocks that are holding them, we are praying them and doing things. I will do that later on in one of the chapters. But that blocks will be removed by Pitru Tarpanas. That will be removed. But that is Pitru Tarpana. But what is Pitru Runa and how does that go away? But what is, first of all you have to beget the next generation. Right? When your son or daughter is born, you pay the debt to your Pitrus. That's why you should have kids. Kids is a form of paying the debt to your Pitrus. Pitrus will not be happy with you unless you pay the debt. I don't know how many of you know about astrology here. There is something called as Pitru Dosha. when Shani and Ketu are together, it's called Pitru dosha. That means people they'll be delayed in getting their kids. If you have Pitru dosha, it is very, very critical that you have kids. Otherwise, until you have kids, you'll always be depressed. Shani is there, so you'll always be depressed. So, that kind of doshas, they're all blockages that needs to go away. That means Pitrus are angry with you until you beget. And the Purana says, when you see the face of your kid, at that time the debt is gone. When you hold your kid and see the face of your kid, the debt is gone. Your Pitru Runa is gone. That's how you take away your Pitru Runa. Right? How do you do the Pitru Yajna? By forefathers, right? By doing all those Shraddha Karmas and all that to remove the blockages from their paths, and by transmitting the culture, language, all the good stuff, and all the sense of duties and responsibilities that we are doing or we are not doing, that we will start doing now that we know, to the younger generation. Don't say they are in America, that's why it's fine. They should not learn. They have to. Otherwise it is clear cut. They are not doing their duties. And that is basically counted as Papa Karma. Shrinking from your responsibilities if you don't do it. So we finished 3. I see all depressed faces here.
Let's focus.
See, Pitru Runa, most of us, I think we are all paid. Happy, right? Pitru Runa is paid. All of us kids. So that is good. Pitru Tarpana is, for people who don't have, they must be doing. If you are not doing Shraddhas, please do. The day and night of Pitrus is 1 year. That means you are offering food every day. Because in their time, 1 year for us is 1 day for them. So every year that you offer is their everyday food. Right? So we will discuss all the details when Krishna comes to the 5th chapter and all that.
Is it a specific date that drives that?
Yeah.
Hey Sunil, since you know so much about Shraddha, can you do like a community Shraddha here at the mandir? You make everybody aware and come and...
I cannot do, but I can teach.
You show them then how this to be done and they can do for their own...
Should be done, yeah.
Because it's done in the Shraddha Mas, right?
Magamas, yeah. It's already done, yeah.
Maybe next year.
Mahalaya Mas, that is very, very important. Because that is the one that feeds the food to the forefathers. Very, very important. Very, very important.
At Amavasya is very...
Yes, Amavasya. See, Purnima is the food for the Devas, Amavasya is the food for the Pitrus. 2 of them. Right? So, that one. We did 3. What are the next 2? Rishi Yajna. What is Rishi Yajna? Sharing the knowledge. This is Rishi Yajna. When we are discussing Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, Kathopanishad and all of those Upanishads, what are we doing? Paying the price to the Rishis by transmitting don't keep things to yourself. Basically, that is what it is. You received it, you distribute it. Let at least one person know from you. Then you are doing your duty. That is your Rishi. If you have some knowledge, it is your duty to share that knowledge. Especially that which comes from Rishi. That needs to be shared. Right? This is not with your family. This is greater society. This again becomes what? Adhibautika Yajna, right? This is with society. You are doing it with society. So that is Rishi Yajna. And finally, what is the next one? Manusha Yajna. What is Manusha? Sacrificing a man in the Homa?
Agni Sanskar. You put your own self in the fire.
That's not Manusha Yajna. That's a responsibility for us. So Manusha Yajna means feeding the guest. Right? In old homes, I'm talking about my grandfather and their father and all that, my great-grandfather. They would not eat food without feeding a guest and doing Vaishwadeva. That strict they were. So that is, they are doing Manusha Yajna and Vaishwadeva. That is Bhuta Yajna. Before they partake food. So feeding the guest. Please make sure, not just drinks party, but Annadana, do Annadana. very important to feed people. That is very, very important. Guest. Once a year, twice a year, whatever it is, please put food for people. Right? That becomes a part of your Manusha Yajna. If you cannot do it every day, it's fine, but do it at least once in a while. And the temple is already providing that Annadanam. So it is very important. Especially Dana has to be done wherever there is Kala, Desha, Kala, Patra. Dana means you have to charity based on Desha means where you are, the time of the year that is, and what the person is, person who is, what is that? A person who is, I forgot the word.
Worthy of it.
Worthy of it, yeah. Probably, yeah. You can say person who is worthy of it. So that means, if you feed a millionaire, nothing will happen. Right? If you feed a millionaire, so you have to feed to the person who needs it. Needy, yeah, that was what I was looking at, yeah. When you feed to the needy, that becomes your Annadana. Feeding the needy. Right? So these are the Pancha Yajnas. Daiva Yajna, Pitru Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, Rishi Yajna, Manusha Yajna. Right? Is it clear? What? Do we feel a sense of responsibility? Right? So everybody is born with these 5 responsibilities. It's not just yajna, it's called Pancha Mahayajnas that everybody has to do. Because Krishna says, one who doesn't do it, stena evasa. That means he's getting and not paying back. He is a thief, Krishna will say in this chapter. Right? So you become a thief if you do not pay the price for the things that you receive. Right? What are those 5 again? Pitru Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, Rishi Yajna, Manusha Yajna. To the nature, to the Devatas, and remember how many Devatas are there, what are their roles, how are we being, how we interact with all of them, all of those things you need to remember. Remember your Nakshatra Devatas every day. Whichever Nakshatra you are, that Devata should be remembered so that your brain thinks well. Right? Then Adityas, sustainers, Surya, we always do Surya Gayatri, so very important. And then Rudras. Especially, Rudras are the ones who are the destruction, who destroy all the things. Basically Prana. They are the Prana, sustain Prana in the body. Plus Indra, Karma Devata. Right? Basically all the karmas come from Indra. And Prajapati, this Janana. Right? So these are the 33. And one Rahu Ketu. What are Rahu Ketus? Why are we born? Where do we go? Right? All of these are this is here. Why do we come? Rahu, desire. Where do we go? Ketu. Right? So one Asura, 33 Devas. Gives you whole Jyotisha. That's why I am calling it Vedanga Jyotisha. Jyotisha as a tool to understand the Vedas. Right? So this is a course in summer.
When is it starting?
I don't know, whenever summer starts. June?
Probably.
June.
We then fast we are aligned with the school. So.
As a part of Rishi Yajna and Pitru Yajna, since we are all here, I searched Wikipedia for Pancha Yajna. There's nothing on Pancha Yajna over there. So.
We have to do. Or search for Pancha Mahayajna, maybe.
So I think, you have said so much knowledge. We should have a group of dedicated people. Every lecture you do, you go home same day, you just start uploading on Wikipedia.
No, he records it.
Yeah.
You record it, but it's only this. This goes everywhere. So, please.
No, really, that is... See, what all this is doing, is to drive a sense of responsibility in us. We, don't just go earn your money and, get some money, bank balance, and that's it and die. That is not what life is. Life is more than that. Life is about transmitting culture. Life is about transmitting all the great things that we have, inherited through the rishis and all those. That is the sense of duty and responsibilities that we are born with. Just don't be, 9 to 5 and 365. That's about it, and one day you die and that's it. Nothing we offer to the world, there's nothing to remember for, that's it, you're gone, nobody remembers, gone. That should not be what life is, right? It should be that, somebody should remember, hey, this guy, when he was there, he did something good. And I was enriched by it. That should be the sense of purpose that should drive the life. And these Pancha Mahayajnas, make sure that you do, every one of us do that. Right? That is what the life ideal should be. Pancha Mahayajnas. Right? But the sad part is, most of us don't even know that there is a Pancha Mahayajna that we are born with. Right? It is not something to be ashamed of, but that's what it is. That's the reality. So it is good that we start cultivating these kinds of things. Take each one of it and do one part of it. As the Devatas, or the Pitrus, as the Bhutas, for the Rishis, for the Manushas. If you make one part of that 5 yajnas, you are at least doing something about it. Right? You are being driven by a sense of purpose. So that is Pancha Mahayajna. Now you will understand. Right? What is Krishna saying? Can somebody repeat the sloka? He is not there. I have to write there. Yajnartat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Right? Tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Do you understand that now? Do you understand the sloka? Very, very important sloka, because Krishna is introducing the concept of responsibility, individual responsibility towards nature, society, animals, towards rishis for sharing knowledge, and towards our extended society. Right? As a what? Like and dislike. No, I don't like all this. No, I will go to English. It is a sense of duty. Whether you like it or not, you will learn it. That's fine. That is what yajna is. You have to pay that price. Whether you like it or not. That becomes yajna. Right? So what is the meaning now of that shloka? Yajna arthat karmanaha anyatra lokaha ayam karma bandhana. What does it mean? If you do karma, if that karma is not driven by the sense of responsibility towards these 5, then the karma is bound to bind you. Karma bandhana. Therefore, tadartham karma kaunteya. Therefore, it is your duty to do that for yajna. Mukta sangha samachara. Without any attachment to the outcomes. Some achara. Start doing it. Start doing the responsibilities. As a warrior, in this sense, you are the warrior. Your duty is to protect dharma. You do that duty. Whether you like it, you dislike it, nobody cares about that. You are a warrior. Your warrior's duty is to fight. You go fight. For dharma, basically. Right? What did Arjuna want? He didn't want to fight. He was basically saying, I don't like it. Krishna is saying, then one of the yajnas is gone. Right? If your duty towards society is gone. You cannot do that. He wants to give up warrior duty and take up yati dharma. He wants to become ascetic, or he wants to go to forest. You cannot change you're born with your dharma. You have to do that. Basically, that's what Krishna is saying. When you do your karmas with that sense of responsibility, of obligation, of duty, then those karmas will not be bandhaka, will not bind you at all. Now you know the concept of yajna is not just putting things in the fire, which is basically dravya yajna, but it encompasses every action that we do. Right? This is a yajna. Right? This is what yajna is this. Rishi yajna. Right? Again, if you do it with a sense of that purpose, it becomes a rishi yajna. You are paying the price to the rishis who sent this knowledge. Right? So that sense of purpose, that sense of duty should be in every one of us. Right? Now we will go to the next one in the next class, where Krishna tells us about the story of how yajna and Manushas were created together by Prajapati, Brahma. And what is our duties? How we interact with nature? What is that interaction going on? What is the price we pay? What do they do with us? Did you know that Devas and Asuras are always fighting, right? Forces of light and forces of darkness, they're always fighting. Every second, every moment. Right? What keeps Devas strong? Exactly. If you remember the story of Hiranyakashipu, Ravana and all of this, what is the first thing they did when they came to power? First thing. They went to Rishis, destroyed their homas and yajnas. First thing. They'll go to forest, wherever Rishis are doing yajna, they'll go cut off everybody and destroy the yajnas and homas. Why do they do that?
They don't want to have the...
See, Devas get their strength from the havis that we pour into the Agni. Right? If all the Deva Yajnas are stopped, nature is going to go out of balance, which means dark forces take over. When we lose the sense of responsibility, there is natural imbalance that takes over. Right? Imbalance happens. Dark forces gain strength when Yajnas are stopped. That's what it is. Devas are strong only when Manushas make an offering. Otherwise they lose their strength. Did you know that? Right? They are not naturally strong. They are strong. Deva is a position that changes every Manvantara and all that. Different. Now in this Manvantara, Aditi Putras are Devas. In the next Manvantaras, Bali becomes the Indra. And some others will become Dvadasha Adityas. Right? So Deva is a position. And their position is to make it nature benevolent to us. When the nature loses balance, because we are not providing it with the balance, then the dark forces, which don't want yajna to happen, they gain in strength, and then devas become weak. So devas get stronger with our offering, and then when we offer, they give us back. That's what you were talking about, the sankalpa. So there is a yajna chakra that is going on. There is a cycle of yajna that goes on. Krishna will talk about it in the next few shlokas, but we can keep this for next class. Do you think it made sense to go into all these details in the last? It's been 3 classes and I've been holding the concept of yajna. I says, we'll talk about yajna. Let's go to this first, right? So it's been 3 classes. But do you think it does make sense to actually go through all of these before we touch on the topic of yajna? Because I can say, it's an offering, we do an offering, that's it. But it will not make any sense to us living in the society, right? So you need to understand that as responsibilities and duties for us. Gita is not talking about somebody. It's talking about us.
No, I think the fact that we went through the last 2 classes, differentiation, the beliefs and traditions, that's been excellent. To understand the actions we've taken in the past, it's more like blindly just following those actions, not understanding it. And having it clarified and discussing it through this class, it's been a pretty amazing experience. And understanding why things happen, why we're doing yajnas in the temple or at home.
Right.
And not understanding that what you're doing is paying homage. So it's really been a very good experience.
Yajna is basically thanksgiving.
Yeah, so
gratitude.
So going through that detail, it's going to be a very good experience and going on next.
Yes, yeah. So then, now on whatever Krishna says about yajna will make sense. Will make complete sense because Krishna talks about responsibilities and duties as fundamental to a person in society. And then what Arjuna is doing is not doing it. Not performing the responsibility that he is born for. And that is what is the problem for Krishna. Right? Okay then. Okay, well, let's finish with Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura मर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुं